You think you know how a shopping mall works, right? A big real estate company owns the building, rents out space to stores like Sephora and Apple, and collects a monthly check. Seems pretty simple, a classic landlord-tenant relationship, just on a massive scale. But what if I told you that simple rent check is often just the beginning of the story, that the entire business model is far more complex and clever than it appears? The truth is, the business of a modern shopping mall is a masterclass in financial engineering. Mall owners have developed ingenious ways to get a piece of the action that goes way beyond a flat rental fee. They charge for the pristine floors you walk on and the cool air you breathe. And the biggest, most famous stores, the ones that draw you in from miles away, often pay shockingly little rent compared to the little guys. Stick around because we're pulling back the curtain on how malls really work. It's a far more calculated business than you ever imagined. Let's start with the obvious. The most visible source of income for a mall is, of course, rent. It's what everyone assumes, and it's not wrong, it's just not the whole picture. A mall is a collection of retail spaces, and every tenant, from the tiny pretzel stand to the giant electronics store, signs a lease. That lease specifies a base rent, an amount they have to pay per square foot each year. This is the foundation of a mall's revenue and is still the single largest piece of the pie. If you own a huge mall and you're charging a decent average rate per square foot, that adds up to millions a year in base rent. Sounds great, right? But here's the catch. The costs of running a modern shopping mall are astronomical. Trying to operate on base rent alone would be like trying to fill a swimming pool with a garden hose while the drain is wide open. A lot of money comes in, but a staggering amount flows right back out. The electricity bill for the lights, escalators, and air conditioning alone can be staggering. Add in security, cleaning crews, landscaping, property taxes, and insurance, and that base rent income starts to look a lot less impressive. If base rent was the only tool in the playbook, many malls would be operating on razor-thin margins. The business would be incredibly risky, where just one or two major tenants leaving could put the whole operation in financial trouble. And yet, for decades, the right kind of shopping malls have been cash-generating machines for their owners. So where does the rest of the money come from? To understand that, you have to stop thinking of a mall owner as just a landlord. They're in the business of creating a shopping environment, and their real product is foot traffic. The first secret to the mall's business model lies with its most important tenants, the anchor stores. These are the massive department stores, the Macy's, the Nordstroms, the Best Buys that physically anchor the ends of the mall. You'd think these giants, taking up huge amounts of prime real estate, would be paying the highest rent. But in reality, they often pay the lowest. Their rent per square foot can be dramatically less than what the small inline stores pay. In some older malls, the anchors weren't tenants at all. They owned their own building and the land it sat on. Why would a mall owner give their most valuable real estate away on such favourable terms? Because the anchor tenant's job isn't just to pay rent, it's to be the magnet. Think of the anchor store as the headliner of a music festival. They're the superstar act that sells thousands of tickets. Once the crowd is there to see the headliner, they walk around buying from all the smaller food trucks and merchandise tents. The anchor store is the mall's headliner. It pulls in the crowd, and that crowd becomes a captive audience for every other tenant. It's a calculated strategy. The mall owner accepts a much lower return from the anchor to guarantee a steady stream of thousands of shoppers. That guaranteed foot traffic is the most valuable commodity a mall has. It's what allows them to turn around and charge much higher rents to all the smaller stores in between. This is where the model gets even more clever. For those smaller inline stores, the landlord sometimes acts like a silent business partner. Many lease agreements contain a clause called percentage rent. Here's how it works. A tenant pays their fixed base rent each month, but the lease might also specify a break point, a certain threshold of annual sales. It's as if the mall owner tells the store, your rent covers my basic costs, but I also want a commission if you do really well. For example, a lease might give the landlord 7% of all sales over $1 million. If that store has a great year and sells $1.5 million worth of goods, The mall owner gets their base rent plus an additional commission check for $35,000. This is a powerful tool because it aligns the interests of the mall owner and the tenant. When the stores do well, the mall owner does well. It gives the landlord a direct incentive to make the mall a place people want to be. This is why they spend money on marketing, holiday decorations, and events. They aren't just being festive, they're trying to boost sales because more sales for their tenants can translate directly into more percentage rent for them. If you thought percentage rent was sneaky, let's talk about common area maintenance charges, or CAM. This is how the mall owner covers their massive operational costs. Think of it like splitting the bills in a massive share house. The mall owner is the one managing the house, and at the end of the month they present all the tenants with the combined bill for electricity, cleaning, landscaping, and security. Everyone pays their share, typically based on the size of their room or square footage. CAM charges are fees that tenants pay to cover the costs of maintaining all the shared spaces of the mall, and the definition of common area is incredibly broad. The security guards, that's often a CAM expense. The HVAC system and the lights in the parking lot, all rolled into CAM. Even portions of the mall's marketing and administrative salaries can be included. This means the mall owner can pass on a significant chunk of the building's day-to-day running costs directly to the tenants. Now, it's not a secret profit center. Owners are still on the hook for major capital expenditures like a new roof. CAM is primarily a cost recovery tool, but some leases even allow the owner to charge an administrative fee on top, creating a small profit margin on the management of these expenses. By now, we've seen that a mall owner gets base rent, maybe a cut of sales, and has many of their operating costs covered, but they're still not done. The final layer of revenue comes from monetizing every other square inch of the property. It's like the mall owner is shaking out the couch cushions of the entire property and finding thousands of dollars. Think about everything you see in a mall that isn't a permanent store. That little kiosk in the middle of the hallway selling phone cases? That's a short-term lease, and per square foot it can command surprisingly high rates. The seasonal pop-up shop selling Halloween costumes? Pure ancillary revenue. The monetization of space gets really creative. Those big digital billboards flashing ads? The mall sells that media space. Car companies pay to place their latest models in the main atrium. Banks pay to have their ATMs installed. Vending machines, kiddie rides, sponsored play areas, every single one is a source of income. This income might small compared to rent from a major store, but it's high margin cash that adds up. So when you put it all together, the base rent, percentage rent, CAM reimbursements, and ancillary income, you get a powerful stream of cash flow known as net operating income, or NOI. And this is where we see the end game. A shopping mall isn't just a collection of stores, it's a financial asset. The mall is treated less like a building and more like a high-performing stock. The cash flow it generates, the NOI, is like the dividend that stock pays out. A higher, more reliable dividend makes the stock more valuable. Many large malls are owned by real estate investment trusts, also known as REITs, which trade on the stock market, and their primary goal is to maximize the property's NOI. Every decision the mall owner makes is done with the ultimate goal of increasing the NOI and therefore the value of the property itself. The real product they're managing isn't just a retail centre, it's a stable, income-generating asset whose value is tied directly to the cash it produces. But this intricate model has a major vulnerability. The complex web holding it together can be threatened by a powerful lease provision known as a co-tenancy clause. This clause is like a crucial Jenga block at the base of the tower. It's a protection that smaller tenants negotiate, which essentially says, I'm only paying this high rent because I'm counting on the foot traffic from that big anchor store. If the anchor leaves, my business will be crushed. If that Jenga block is pulled out, meaning a key anchor tenant closes or mall occupancy drops, the whole structure becomes unstable. The clause stipulates that the smaller tenant gets relief, often as a dramatic rent reduction. In some cases, it even gives them the right to terminate their lease and leave. Now imagine what happens when a department store chain goes bankrupt and closes its location. That one event can trigger co-tenancy clauses for dozens of other tenants. This can be the start of the retail death spiral. Overnight, the mall owner's rental income can plummet. As foot traffic declines, other tenants leave. More storefronts go dark, the mall feels emptier, and fewer shoppers visit. This hurts sales for the remaining stores, and as more tenants leave, the CAM charges get spread among fewer businesses, making it even more expensive for the survivors. The mall's NOI collapses, its value as an asset evaporates, and the entire financial structure is at risk. This entire system, the anchor strategy, the percentage rent, the CAM charges, is a machine tuned to maximize income. But as the Jenga tower of co-tenancy shows, it can also be incredibly fragile, especially when a key player leaves the game. So the next time you walk through a shopping mall, look at it differently. Don't just see a collection of stores. See a sophisticated financial ecosystem. The owner isn't just a passive landlord. They're an active operator. They've given discounts to the giants to lure you in like a festival headliner, made themselves a partner in the success of the small stores by taking a commission, and shifted a huge portion of their running costs onto everyone else. They are monetizing the floor you walk on and the space all around you. The business of a shopping mall is about so much more than retail. It's the relentless business of creating a crowd and selling access to it. The most valuable product in the entire building isn't on any of the shelves. It's the flow of people walking past them. If you found this video valuable, leave a like, subscribe and comment below which business you want me to cover next.